Welcome back. In recent times, mortgage brokers have grown in stature and as a consequence have increased their market share in writing loans compared to their in-house rivals at the country's banks. So what is their secret and what is the future of mortgage broking? Siobhan Hayden is the CEO of the Mortgage and Finance Association of Australia, and she should have the answers to these questions.
Absolutely.
Okay, I knew you would.
Thanks.
So let's talk about mortgage brokers. How have they been performing? I presume, last figures I saw, they were actually growing their market share. Has that continued?
Absolutely. So the current research into the industry by comparator shows that we're 52%, nearly 52% of all loans in Australia are introduced by finance brokers. So inherently, on average, customers are choosing more often to go to a finance broker than to walk into a branch, which is great. The customer experience, look, finance brokers are mobile, we're of no cost, and we've got a deeper knowledge set. In May this year...
Why do you have a deeper knowledge set?
So depending on a broker's accreditations with lenders, they can have access to up to 500 different products in the market, so they're genuinely brokering the market. In May this year, Peter, the Mortgage Association commissioned Ernst & Young to do a report on the value of mortgage broking. In that report, they interviewed 700 customers and 9 of the lenders in Australia that represent 88% of all mortgage flows. And the 2 key findings from customers in that report was convenience being number 1. So obviously we're all time poor, and better access to a product. If you're walking into one brand, one branch, that's a suite of products.
It's highly unlikely that an in-house loan consultant at a bank will recommend a product at another bank.
Absolutely not.
That's right.
And depending, it's funny, I mean, certain products, if a customer sits in front of a finance broker, their job is not to just to look at their immediate needs, but their long-term requirements as well, and balance all of that into the right options in the market.
But are you surprised that it's only 52%?
I am, and I want it to be more. Look, an important outcome of the EY report that we commissioned identified about 22% of consumers that currently don't use a finance broker. And what was interesting is, as consumers don't like to be misled, they genuinely didn't understand the brokering proposition. They thought they were basically a reseller for a particular brand. So rather than be duped by the proposition they thought, they went into a branch. So what was optimistic for me from that research was there's a potential 22% upswing in relation to the choices of a finance broker if they understood genuinely they broker the market, which they do.
Because in many ways, John Simon has done a lot to explain what mortgage brokers do.
Yeah, fantastic.
Maybe you guys should just take it as we do what John does, but there's a lot more of us out there doing exactly that.
I wish I had the media budget that Aussie does, and John's a great supporter of the industry as well.
Yeah, of course he is. All right, so why do you think the general public still isn't comfortable with the concept of mortgage brokers? You said 22% didn't understand.
Look, it's an embryonic piece. As I mentioned, we don't have the budget to get out there and fully communicate, in mainstream media, besides the Sky News program. So really it is about finance brokers building their businesses based on referrals. They don't have advertising budgets either. So it's one customer referring another, and we've got to 52% because of that. I suppose the association also works closely with regulators, the industry stakeholders, and consumer-facing conventions and conferences and expos to continue that education.
Do you think there's a bit of a hangover from the old days where they used to say, I'm a panel beater today, I'm a mortgage broker tomorrow? And that was about probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, so before my time.
Before you reform the whole system.
That's right. Look, definitely there'd be an element of that. And I think if you have a bad customer experience, then you're not going to obviously be willing to perhaps try that again. I think 52% of the market does demonstrate, though, that there is great success. We've had national regulation since 2010, bringing together the state-based regulations. And
the accreditation means that mortgage brokers have to be a minimum standard to call themselves a mortgage broker?
That's right, or finance broker as they're known today. We do more than mortgages, so asset finance and commercial lending. And in the Mortgage and Finance Association, we require our members to be to a degree, to diploma level qualification, which is above ASIC's requirements as well. Okay,
so have you had any issues lately that have concerned you about some mortgage broking practices?
Look, the incidence of complaints lobbied or provided to us is less than 1%, which is great. The Mortgage and Finance Association has its own tribunal, so any mentions of poor performance are genuinely investigated at a third arm or an arm's removed, and we have a great relationship with ASIC in relation to how we manage that process. So nothing of recent.
And I would have thought one of the worst case scenarios would be if a finance broker puts you into a more expensive product than was available. And if that's the case, you just go to another mortgage broker and transfer to a lower cost product.
So it's an interesting thing. A lot of industry media talks about the price of a loan feature or loan product. It is really one of the last things that a broker would look at. You know, if you and your partner or you and your wife, Peter, were going to a mortgage or an auction on the weekend, you need finance quickly. So that's your primary need in relation to your financing. So a finance broker is looking at a breadth of issues. What you're going to do with that product. Do you need to do renovations when you get in there? The loan features that the finance broker is looking at, the price point is really one of the last considerations.
Gee, I've been a scab all these years.
They're all within cooee.
I've been a scab all these years. Funny that, isn't it? All right, so what is your hopes and expectations for the image and the growth of mortgage broking?
Look,
finance broking.
Finance broking. So I've very humbled with the opportunity to work for the association, and we're well established. It's a mature industry, 12,000 members of the MFAA, and really my job is to facilitate their business success, looking at the barriers to continued growth, working closely with regulators, advocacy, and really looking at those opportunities in the market to provide an enhanced customer experience as we continue to move forward, particularly with digital.
Okay, so what do you want your stamp to be upon this industry when you eventually get old enough to go somewhere else?
Look, I'd like to see, continued professionalism, of course. I suppose the industry to be viewed as it is today as a profession that people would want to join and develop over their career. As an advocate, forward-thinking, innovative. They're the sort of...
Do you guys help people find a mortgage broker? Because,
yes, we do.
Obviously, a lot of people get referred because there are some great performers out there who get their customers pure because they're good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
But, if people go to your website, is it easy for them to find mortgage brokers?
Certainly is. We have a website called www.mortgageandfinancehelp.com.au, which allows you to search for a broker within either residential, asset or commercial features, which is what you're looking to find solutions for in your local area.
Now, Siobhan, you've been in business for yourself before you took on this job, is that right?
Yeah.
So, and often we find mortgage brokers can be great mortgage brokers, but they're not necessarily great at business. Is this an important issue? Because if they have business problems, it can affect probably even ultimately the growth of their business. Are you doing much about that?
Yeah, it's definitely an area that we try to support our members on. So obviously, finance brokers are time poor, like most people today. They're 10-hour-day kind of jobs. Their job's never done. When you run a small business, as I've experienced myself, you wake up at 2 a.m. forgetting that you've done, something that you didn't do. So look, from a time perspective, I don't think they have the time often to write their strategic plans each year.
They're working in the business and not on their business.
Probably. It's a constant challenge for small business owners, not just finance brokers, I think any small business.
Well, I've seen some award-winning mortgage brokers or finance brokers, and they often are women. And they're often very systemised, and they actually do bring other people in to do the stuff that's not as face-to-face with customers and all that sort of stuff.
So data entry, packaging, reviewing of products, absolutely. So
crossing T's and dotting I's and all that sort of stuff.
That's right, and there's opportunities in all different structures. Some people outsource to a specialist in that space. Some people bring in a fellow employee to do that in their office. There's all different options, and we as an association to our finance brokers try to provide information on those options to help them grow and nurture their business as they want to.
Okay.
Some people happily keep it at one business show, and others want to have a bigger business.
Well, Siobhan, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Siobhan Hayden is the CEO of the Mortgage and Finance Association of Australia. So that's the show for this week. Thanks for joining me. By the way, I'm in the market for a really good quality, trustworthy financial advisor. We need one. So if you're interested in working with me, send an email to info@switzer.com.au. That was an idea you just had. We need a really good person. So if you're out there, send us an email, info@switzer.com.au. Thanks for joining me this week. See you next week.